All right, got a fun video for you today with a new product that just came out by Sonokinetic. This one's called 80. It's all about retro symphonics, the sound of the film composers and the TV composers from the 80s. And I am really digging this library. You guys are gonna like it too. I'm not getting paid to make the video, but they do send me the software for free, and they sent me one copy for a lucky winner. In order to get in on the contest, all you have to do is put the word subbed in the comments section, but just beware that there are scammers and bots who pay attention to this kind of stuff and try and tell you, the commenter, that you've won the contests, and all you have to do is go to Telegram to this Jeff Gibbons account, which is not real, and probably send your credit card information. So don't do that. What I'll do is on August 4th, I will post in the community section on my channel. I'll put a little post that says who the winner is and how you can contact me and get in touch and claim your prize. I also have to apologize for the air conditioner. We've got a smoking hot day here today, and so I've got it kind of cranked up. We'll see how good my isotope noise reduction software is. So here's with the air conditioner. Here's with the noise reduction. Hopefully it's good. We'll see. All I'm going to do in this video is play around with the software a little bit. They've got amazing tutorials on all of their libraries. My friend Ruben over there does a lot of videos for these guys, and his videos are fantastic at explaining the software. I've got another video as well where I talk about using these libraries in Machine. So I'll put some of those in the description of the video. Make sure you check that out because this library will work exactly the same way and work perfectly with Machine. So we're going to start right from scratch, and I'm going to be using it with my Complete Control keyboard. And as you see, it's set up to work perfectly with the lights on the Complete Control keyboards. Of course, you can do this without Complete Control. So let's go over the interface just a little bit, and then we're just going to play around with the software for maybe half an hour or so and see what we can come up with. So the way these libraries all work is you have 12 phrases that can be loaded up into different slots on each instrument. So what I might do later is set up one track just for strings, one track for woodwinds, and that's just the way I'd like to work. Some people might load up a whole bunch of instruments all in one instance. Anyways, let's have a listen to some of these phrases. Okay, we hear synthesizers. Getting some John Williams in there as well. Okay, so once you hear the term phrase library, I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, well, it's just kind of cheating. You're not really composing. But what I would say in response to that is I did children's music for about 10 years, and I had to come up with music for animations, little videos, all the time. And I would have a little sequence where I'd need to come up with a little spy theme or something like that. And I'm working on an extremely tight time frame, sometimes a day, to do several minutes of music. And all I need is a 15-second little piece of a spy theme or something like that. Libraries like this would be perfect for those situations, but I'm also going to show you how you can take some of these phrases and make them more than just a loop that just happens to be playing in the right key and the right tempo. Just to start off, I'll show you how you would take a phrase like this one right here and play in different chords. So we'll start in C minor. I'm going to play a C minor in the left hand in this blue section right here, and then I'm going to play that phrase. So that's it. So you trigger the phrase with one of these keys right here, and then your left hand chooses the chords. If I want to have multiple phrases playing at the same time, of course, I can just play two of them. And then I could go to one, and I could maybe pan this one to the left, and then maybe to the other, and pan this one to the right. Next thing I should mention is that this library adds synthesizers, which is kind of a neat thing for Sonokinetic. Any of these purpley pink phrases are going to be synthesizers, which can be played the same way as all the rest of them. And then the other cool thing they've added is some of these phrases have this little bikini looking thing here that is going to add synthesizer to this phrase. So this is the phrase right here. And you can hear some synthesizer in there. If I turn it all the way down, there's the phrase without the synth. So adding kind of like almost like a Bernard Herrmann kind of synthesizer to this little phrase, which is really cool. And they've got that on all sorts of different phrases as well. So not just the woodwinds, but we've got it on strings and brass and stuff like that as well. Individually right here, and then you can also do it as a whole on all of the phrases all at once with this bottom thing right here. The other thing you'll notice if you've never seen these libraries is these funny looking graphics on each one of these phrases. And that's just Sonokinetic's way of kind of giving you some indication of what's happening in the phrase. So if we look at this one, and then you think, okay, well, what about the notes? What are the notes that they're using? And if you click this button right here, you can actually see the score. So you can hear flutes going down and the clarinets going up at the same time. And then you can also drag the MIDI into your DAW. So now you can actually go and mess with this with any instruments that you want at any tempo and all of that kind of stuff. So a really cool way to work with these libraries. Kind of takes things, allows you to really make them your own. So if you just love a phrase, but you don't want to use the sounds or you want to change some aspect of the phrase, of course, you can do that with your own libraries. Very cool stuff. And then the last thing I should mention that they've added is this little plus button. So if you've got a phrase, and you feel like it might be neat to have other phrases that would go along with this one, click the plus button and watch what happens to the slot next to it. It gets loaded with a phrase in the strings that sounds related to that one. And if you see any that have a plus button that has a little bit of a rainbow to it, if you click plus button, you're going to see a bunch of phrases that load up that are related to it. So here's, and then we got this one, and then we got this one. Isn't that cool? Now what we should do is go over, look at the phrases so you can see what you're getting with this. And if you click on any of these hieroglyphics on any one of these phrases, you'll go over to the phrase library or phrase picker. And then all you have to do is click on the category of sounds. And each one has phrases based on themes. So we've got action, clash, creeping, heroic, etc. And you click on something like villain, and now you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 phrases for the strings based on villain. So you can see how many phrases there are in this library. There's quite a lot of them. I'm not sure of the actual number, but each one of these sections has all of these phrases built into them. So that's how this all works. I'm not going to go too much more into it. Other than now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start going through and finding some fun ones to put together. And then I'm going to use Damage 2 to put some drums to it. So let's just go ahead and make something out of this library. Let's go for maybe some creeping stuff to begin with. Okay, so I've got a bunch of string phrases loaded up. Let's go in the key of F minor. Okay, so I've got my basic chord progression in there. F minor, A flat major, E flat major to a B flat major. So that's the one chord that's kind of outside of the key, which gives it this Dorian feel. Let's go to the brass. We'll try some beds. Let's try that one out. So I've just spent a little over an hour playing around with the software and having a ton of fun with it. And I'm sure if I spent more time, I could really start crafting some really unique phrases. I've got a really simple chord progression here that I just started with. And that's all I'm doing. I start with that chord progression, then I go to the same chord progression with some different phrases. And I added some damage to it, actually damage two to it. And so yeah, let's just have a look at some of these little phrases and then I'll play the whole thing for you. So you can see that I've got everything separated into sections. That's probably how I would work. And then I would actually go in and unload the articulations or the phrases that I'm not using. So like on this one right here, I'd go through and I just disable that, just click that little button, and that just unloads that phrase from RAM and just makes things a little bit lighter. So these are my strings ones. And that one you can hear that synthesizer in there. It sounds great. Classic high string stuff. And then I'm alternating between those two articulations later on when things get a little more intense. And leading up to my big section, I found this really nice phrase in the brass. And all I did was click this plus button and it put the next two phrases from different instruments in the next slots. And so I probably should have put them on the strings and stuff, but here they are on their own. So we got the winds and then the strings doing this same sort of stabs. Isn't that great? I've also got some winds in there, and then I've got some synthesizer doing some fun stuff at the beginning. Let's have a listen to that one. I forgot to mention, these synthesizer patches are all kind of FM synthesis stuff, and they've actually made a bunch of these patches, I'm not sure if all of them, but a bunch of the patches available for reface users. So if you have one of those Yamaha reface synthesizers, you can actually load the patches in and then tweak them. Pretty cool. So the damaged drums I just kind of played in. Some nice tom stuff happening, and then in the second half, things get a little bit bigger with some loops. Really just push down one button. And if I had any self-respect, of course, I'd go and make my own beat for that part. So I have been known to use those loops from time to time, though. Okay, so let's hear the whole thing, and I'll kind of play around with this as it's happening. Here we go. So there it is, some really incredible sounds in this library. It's going to be perfect for a lot of people who need some quick access to inspiration for writing this kind of action theme stuff. I mean, I'm just showing you a tip of the iceberg on this phrase library, so make sure you go check out the links and see what other kinds of sounds they've got in this instrument, because it is fantastic. So thanks so much, Sonokinetic, for sending it over. Hit that subscribe button and the bell, and we'll see you in the next video.